The composition of your photographs are more important even than having a really good camera. So today I'm going to just run through a few top tips to make your photos just that little bit more exciting. One of the best known composition rules is called the rule of thirds. Now if you imagine a grid overlaid over your photographs, it's generally more interesting visually if you position the focal point of your picture along one of the lines in the frame rather than having it slap bang in the center. It doesn't have to be an exact thing. None of these rules today are an exact thing, but it's always just something to bear in mind. If you're going to put the thing right in the middle of the image, you have to have a good reason to do so. Number two is lines. It's really useful to think in terms of the lines that you see in the images, and generally it's a helpful thing to try and make the lines lead your eye towards whatever it is that's the most important aspect of the picture. So in this first one here, the line leads you in from the corner of the frame towards the person, and in this next picture the lines leading from the right towards the left. You can see the people walking towards the tents. Even the most boring picture can become far more interesting if you just change the angle that you take it from. So rather than just snapping automatically from eye level, try getting down really low, or try getting up high above your object. Getting down low, getting up high can give you a different impression of things. A common mistake when people take photographs is that they don't fill the frame. They have a tiny picture of a person in the front and a huge bit of boring background behind. Think what's the object of your photo and fill that bang up in the frame. Obviously this isn't always appropriate, but at times it makes the photographs far more immediate and far more exciting, and even photograph some boring little mundane object like this camping stove looks more interesting when you're up close and filling the frame. Whenever you take a photograph, you should think about what the focal point is. What's the point of the photograph? What do you want the viewer's eyes to focus on? Give this a bit of thought and it'll help you create more meaningful, powerful photographs. Active space is important in photographs as well. Take the dog here on the left hand side of the frame. It's barking furiously at the empty space on the right. If I'd made the empty space behind the dog with the dog barking off the edge of the frame, it would have looked slightly awkward somehow. And similarly with this next picture, you can see the man pushing the barrels over into the active space. Give him some space to move into. This is an especially useful tip if you're taking photographs of people running or cars or horses running, that sort of thing. A useful way of making even quite boring photographs a little bit more interesting is by framing them. Try and find something to frame the focal point of your image. Finally, don't be afraid to use your flash, even in daylight photographs. It just brings a bit more wow, a bit more colour and a bit more life to pictures. It's also useful for lighting up what would be a bit of a shadow, like this person's face. By using a bit of flash, it just helps to light it up. All of these rules do have their place, but also don't feel you have to stick to them. If you have good reason, then by all means feel free to break any of these rules at any time, but just bear in mind why you're actually doing them, and I hope this will really help your photography composition.